This thing just keeps getting deeper and deeper and
I got a feeling. I got a feeling somebody's going to do some time. I got a feeling. I got a feeling. It's just a hunch of mine. Somebody's going to do some time.
Well, that somebody needs to be Tim Walsh and Ilhan Omar.
Waltzing Omar, waltzing Omar, they'll come and do a waltz with you. See, I have a little few unheralded talents. I can't sing, but there it is.
So she was on Face the Nation, Ilhan Omar. And I want to play some of it because she's trying to deflect.
They're picking on her.
Yeah, she's trying to deflect from herself being investigated to the Minnesota ICE protests. Actually, I think I need to show this clip.
They had one in Memphis. They tied down some streets here, and the chief of police in Memphis refused to send any cops over there to clear the mess up. So people were complaining about it, and the word came down, the chief just doesn't want to be politically incorrect. Ain't that something?
So here she is basically inciting more of the protests / riots because she was forbidden to go into the ICE detention facility. They wouldn't let her in.
You all have refused to back down. You all have decided that this resistance is not one that can be intimidated. We are showing the nation that regardless of what the tyrant in the White House believes, we know that we are here to stay and this is our country. We are going to make a life here and we are going to stand up for our neighbors here in Minneapolis. As many of you know, they came to terrorize, abduct, and deport Somali immigrants here in Minnesota. When they couldn't find any because majority of us are legal residents and citizens, they decided to terrorize our Latino immigrants.
They're illegals.
Darkness, American democracy. And when people are disappeared in the darkness, American democracy dies.
Congresswoman,
and it is really important for every single person in this country to understand that they are not only disappearing people who have committed crimes, who are in this country undocumented. They are disappearing U.S. citizens. They are disappearing people who have proper documentation, sometimes telling them that their documentations are wrong, keeping them for days upon days. We've also seen people be deported who have proper documentation yet to be returned to this country.
That's right.
This should not be allowed in a country that roots in itself in freedom and liberty. There is no freedom when you are being detained and your government is being turned against you.
And the issue with Somalians is not the same as with the other folk. And go ahead, what's this woman got to say?
Well, now investigators are tracking the web of fraud to other Minnesota Democrats, such as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Many of the suspects linked to the scheme live in her district, including a restaurant owner who hosted events for her. He has since been convicted of stealing $12 million in COVID funds. Well, now investigators are...
How much she get in campaign contributions, if anything? Wowee whoopee.
And this is her on the Face the Nation. Play some of this.
Ilhan Omar, who represents a large portion of that city. It's good to have you here.
I represent the whole city.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. The Trump administration is actively telling the public that journalists are misleading them. You heard what was just reported from the scene. What we know is that Renee Macklin Good and her partner were protesters. They were driving around Minneapolis. They were recording what some of these ICE enforcement officers were doing. And the local police chief says Macklin Good blocked the street with her car. President Trump has said that the partner was a paid agitator. That's the phrase he used. Secretary Noem alleged this was an act of terrorism. Given how much heat there is and the administration's scrutiny, would you tell Americans it's too dangerous to demonstrate and to go out and document as she was doing?
I think it is really important for Americans to record, to create the level of accountability and transparency that we need. What we have seen in Minneapolis is ICE agents oftentimes jumping out of their cars. These are unmarked cars. Oftentimes they're wearing a mask. They're approaching, running towards cars. They're pulling people out of those cars. Oftentimes these people are citizens. Oftentimes these people have documentation of their legal right to be in this country. And we know that DHS has lied repeatedly when it comes to these accounts. So it is even more important for there to be recording from eyewitnesses every single time these actions are taking place.
But do you see from the recordings that we see, is there anything that you believe was being done that should not have been done by Macklin Good? The administration says she was blocking the road. They are claiming this is an act of terrorism.
Oh, well.
Her name, Nicole Good, as you hear her say, she's not mad. She's sitting in her car, peacefully waving cars to get by. This agent, as you see, gets out of his car, automatically starts running towards her, trying to open her door. She feels scared. She tries to turn the wheel away. And then you see the other officer, who can clearly see the car is moving, move towards the front of the car, which, if they are saying that he has 10 years on service and is trained, he should know that you shouldn't be trying to get in front of a moving car. And so it is not acceptable for Kristi Noem and the president and the vice president to make these kind of judgments without there being a full investigation, even though we can see in the videos that have been produced so far that what they are describing is really not what is taking place. And so if they're saying that we shouldn't believe our eyes, then let the investigation take place before you characterize this mother of three as a domestic terrorist. Prove to us what documentation you have, that one, that she was paid, two, that she was agitating when we can hear her say she's not mad, she's not upset. She's clearly trying to wave cars to bypass her. And so it's just this level of rhetoric is unjustifiable to the American people.
Just quickly
You
on that,
don't
you said
block a
accountability was
street
important
going
for people to
perpendicular
document
across
this.
the street at a police scene and start trying to flag other cars around you. You move. And we saw the same thing she saw. And I've been doing this for longer than this fool has been breathing air on the planet Earth. And I call it a different way. That's a matter of opinion. I think I pretty much agree with what the current administration is calling it. Like the deceased brother-in-law says, allegedly, she had no business being there. And
Well, now
like he said, they didn't have to shoot her. They could have let her go. But you see,
but
this alien is trying to get people to say, rely on what people would do if they were nice, not what they're entitled to do if they just dealt with legalities. Now, see, you're acting very much unnice. You are exposing our country to all kinds of threats. I would say that's almost seditious, except it isn't quite. And the other thing is, where is she supposed to be from?
Somalia.
Okay, did you go take a look at Black Hawk Down?
Not yet. I didn't watch that yet.
Well, take a look at footage from Somalia and see what your typical Somalian looks like, and take a look at her. And then all of the stuff that they have to say about what goes on in this country, about this, that, and the other kind of niceties. there's a caste class system in Somalia, and she's from the high class part of it. So it's not like she represents the run of the mill Somalian.
Right. So the woman, Renee Good, she did not comply because the ICE officer said, get out the car, open her door. She closed her door. Her wife told her, drive, baby, drive. And
You can hear him yelling.
Right. And they
That's the
told her
wife.
several times to stop and get out. And the wife said, drive, baby, drive. She drives and almost ran over, clipped the officer that was in front of her, and he shot her or whatever. Unfortunate situation. But this one here talking about, oh, she was trying to get out of the way of danger. She was the danger because she was literally blocking the ICE agents. Why was she there in the first place? And she was not compliant. The agents were the one trying to remove her from a dangerous situation. They was trying to
Here's
de-escalate.
the roadway, and she's parked across the roadway trying to tell people
So
to
they're
go
trying
around
to
her.
de-escalate.
You doing perpendicular to the flow of traffic in the first place. Move. The other thing is, look, it's got to be taken from the perspective of the actor. And the actor in a self-defense situation is entitled to rely upon what he knows about either that person or about the group that person claims to be part of. And look at this idiot right here telling folk to go out and disobey the law. You have all obligation to defy ICE. And they are thinking when they're out there, this is life or death. I could cut her some slack, but what about my family if I don't show up home this evening after the shift's over? Who's going to support them? I have to think of my family.
I want to play a little bit.
And wait a minute, hold on. One other thing. This rhetoric she's giving, the cop could think about, the ICE agent could think about, hey, these folk have been wired up off of this stuff, no telling what they might be about to do. So I don't need to cut them extra slack. I don't have to wait till, what are you going to do with that sword? Stick me? Don't. You stuck me with your sword. You killed me, but I'm not dead yet. Now I can take self-defense. No, you don't have to wait till you get run over when it looks like you're going to get run over.
Yeah, let me play a little bit more.
It's happening. I just want to be abundantly clear because the administration says that their officers are being stalked and harassed. When you say accountability, you are only describing recording like she was doing?
Yeah, I think it is fair
Okay.
for citizens to document what law enforcement is doing
There's
in
been
their
violence
communities.
against some of these agents as well.
Well, there's also been violence against residents in Minneapolis.
There right now is a lot of heat on your state. Treasury Secretary Bessent called Minnesota ground zero for what may be the most egregious welfare scam in our nation's history to date. 85 of the 98 people who were charged by the Justice Department with this welfare scheme are Somali. And you know this. The Treasury Secretary is probing whether any of the money was somehow funneled outside the country. He actually issued new standards. He's going to make it make someone disclose if they receive public assistance when they try to wire money out of the country, and he's lowered the bar for suspicious activity. What is the practical impact of doing that in the community?
It's just creating fear. What they are doing is creating confusion, chaos, trying to intimidate people from being able to exercise their regular, normal activities that they would. There is no justification in any of the things that they say. The 87 people that you've described as being investigated, many of them adjudicated, all happened under the Biden administration. There is no justification for this search. We know that ICE has the ability to conduct raids.
Yeah.
There is no reason to have over 2,000 people coming in to our city and creating the level of terror that they have created.
Well, the administration argues that they have.
Stop. How many people are responsible for 911 to hijack those 4 airplanes? one of which by a debt of heroism of some good citizens crashed harmlessly in a field, except to the demise of the people on board. 2 into the Twin Towers and 1 into the Pentagon. How many thousand people lost their lives? More so than at Pearl Harbor, starting World War II. And
Thousands.
yes, thousands. And this is a worse situation. ICE is supposed to overlook what's going on there. And then how did you translate that from Somalia, which is, last I checked, on the African continent, to something that is going on in South America and Central America, where it's percolating up through the United States, and people are coming in from mainland China, from Africa, from the Middle East, from North Korea, and they're coming right in with that. How many people did it take to do 911 and cost thousands of American lives? And you sit there and it's of no concern to you.
Right.
And
And
by the way, why don't you look like your typical Somalian?
what do you mean look like?
She doesn't look like your typical Somalian, like I don't exactly look like your typical black person either.
I don't follow you with that.
In other words, she's too high bright.
Is there people Somalia that come in different colors? She's
Yeah,
brown.
most of them don't look like her.
Right. She's brown skin.
Yeah, but she very light compared to your typical Somalian.
No, Somalians are not.
Now, ones you get to see on the American media, but take a look at Black Hawk Down and take a look at some of the featured documentaries from Somalia and see what most Somalians look like.
Let me play this clip here.
Covered the other day, and one of our spending bills making its way through Congress was a $1 million earmark from Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, which was an earmark that was supposedly going to a substance abuse clinic, which actually happened to be housed in a restaurant and run by 3 individuals that share the same residential address, according to their IRS paperwork. Tons of red flags. So this is what we saw with the fraud involving the daycare centers. Now we see other earmarks coming directly from members of Congress where it seems fraud is being perpetrated as well. So I raised the issue, and fortunately, the House has now stripped that earmark out of that spending bill. But again, this is how easy money has been flowing to bad actors in Minnesota. Covered the
My, why does that not surprise?
Also, in Minnesota, 70% of the people that are on welfare are Somalians.
Oh, yeah, we were listening to that. Why is that?
Yeah, why?
70% of the Somalians are on welfare.
Or at least 10 years.
Yeah, for at least 10 years. 74%, I think the statistic was. Why is that the case? You're supposed to be coming in to help the team. You got admitted in on the ongoing team, but instead of helping it, you just sit on the bench and the team is supposed to sacrifice its play so it can take care of you. That doesn't work too well, does it?
No. And right, investigate. So somebody was like, yeah, the real Somalians are dark, I guess.
Yeah.
Somalia, they're known to be dark, not that brown skin. Or a lot of them in Minnesota are not. They're brown. They're darker than me and you, but they're brown. They're not.
Well, they had an opportunity in Minnesota, which used to be one of the terminus points on the Underground Railroad before the Civil War, and they have a very, very high tolerance for racial differences, ethnic differences up there, which is good. That's why you got Prince from there. That's why the first black person to play pro basketball, Don Barksdale, was hired by the Minnesota Lakers, now LA Lakers, and that's where they got the name, since Minnesota is the land of lakes. It is a place where racial animus is at one of its lowest levels in the country. So, yeah, anybody can come in there and get situated. I used to go up there when I used to get invited to lecture to the workforce of Northwest Airlines. It was headquartered in Minneapolis, and the last time I was there was summer before last, where my crew toured the whole area, including over by that cupcake shop where the George Floyd thing took place. And we talked to a lot of the citizens and had 2 or 3 hours worth of meetings with them. It's interesting what they had to say about it.